and gentlemen, the American jury and Bulldog Nation, happy St. Patrick's Day. What a great country to live in, Ireland. No freaking snakes. You can thank St. Patrick for that. Well, let's get right to it. And I want to start out with something that you have not heard, and you know I like to brag. You've not heard this on one conservative podcast. You haven't heard this on Fox News. You haven't heard this anywhere. And I'm going to give you this nugget. Why isn't Kamala Harris commenting on the Andrew Cuomo scandal? You notice? Everybody recognizes that. Everybody is saying she's not commenting. She's not commenting. Nobody gives you the answer. The answer is she wants to set herself up to separate herself from Biden and all the other Dems by saying, you know what? I abhor that conduct. And if you notice, I never said anything blessing it, blah, blah. In other words, she's playing the reverse game. She wants to be able to act like, well, my silence clearly meant that I wasn't going to endorse or support anything that actually freaking happened there. That's what she's trying to do. I know that sounds convoluted, and it is a little convoluted, but that's what she's doing. She doesn't want to comment on it, so she doesn't piss off all those Democrats, and at the same time she says, well, come on, you knew what my silence meant. You knew what my silence meant. That's what she's up to. And of course it won't work. Illegal crossings down at the border. The highest they have been in 20 freaking years. 20 years. The highest they've been. Not a crisis. Not a crisis. Our new DHS guy is saying, well, it's a concern. It's a concern. Meanwhile, you've got Fauci. I watched just a snippet because it was late at night and it was a rerun because I cannot stand watching Chris Wallace. But I watched him. And you know what he says to Fauci? He focuses on Trump. He doesn't say this, ask this question of Fauci. Well, Dr. Fauci, what do you have to say about the illegals coming in with the high positive rate of COVID? Nothing. Fauci doesn't get asked that question, does he? No, he doesn't. Cartels. You hear about this? Cartels, and they're behind these children and all these other people coming. The cartels they're smart. They watch us. And by the way, I got this imaginary little skit I'd like to do. The cartels. Joe Biden letting everybody come in. Get the gang back together. Get the gang back together. We're going to the border. I mean, can you imagine what the cartels are like? Yeah, they're high-fiving each other. Yeah, the border's back open. Trump's gone. Let's go. I'll guarantee you they're having parties talking about it. So they're tracking them once they get to the United States in wristbands. There's a report that they got wristbands on their people. So they get to the United States, they know where they go. Be in touch with you very soon. The Dems are blocking a Republican bill involving getting the illegals tested. Think about that. The Democrats in the House, they want you to lock down. They want you to get vaccinated. They want you to get tested. But they want to block the illegals getting tested for COVID coming into the United States. Another moronic position of the Democrats. They caught 4 migrants coming in who were on the terrorist watch list. So more people are having parties and high-fiving. All the terrorists, ISIS, everything in the Middle East, say, hey, let's go to Mexico. We can get in now again. By the way, did you notice something? Nobody talks about this. Did you notice something? During the Trump administration, how many school shootings did we have? How many terrorist attacks did we have in this country? Compare the domestic violence we had in this country under Trump compared to Biden. With the exception of one thing, Antifa, the violence that all occurred in the election year that had nothing to do with Trump. Zero. Think about that. Nobody talks about that either. Biden's upcoming press conference. Another skit I want to do. Biden is finally going to have a press conference. No president has gone this long. It's going to be like 100 days without giving a press conference. It's been 100 years since a president waited this long. Can you imagine what they're doing? And there's a funny video we posted about him getting his podium ready. This is behind the scenes of what's going on to get Biden ready for the press conference. Hey, you got that Prevagen? No, we don't want regular Prevagen. We need the super Prevagen. Give him 5 a day. Oh, no, 7. Get him 7 a day. We want him on 7 Prevagen a day leading up to the press conference. Can you imagine what they're trying to do to get Biden ready? And then they push him out there, and he stands there, and then they all go like this. God, let's hope he doesn't screw this up. You know they're going to be in a freaking complete panic mode when they roll him out there, and he's going to screw up something. Have you watched him talk, folks? My father, crotch grabber himself, is 91 years old. And he now talks, you know, he's hesitant. Things ain't working right. I remember my grandfather, 84 years old. You know, they get to be, we've got a guy who is senile for president of the United States. You voted for him. Well, not Bulldog Nation, but all the other morons. Biden's coming out with a gun bill. Biden wants to remove the manufacturer's liability shield for gun laws. Now, let me explain this nice and simple. What that means is the way it is a gun manufacturer, which makes sense. Why should a gun manufacturer be held liable if I pick up a gun and I go murder somebody? What the hell does the gun manufacturer have to do that? Are you ready for this? The laws protect the pharmaceutical companies. There's a shield for pharmaceutical companies. Does Biden want to take care of that? No. But he wants to say, no, you can sue. What the hell does the gun manufacturer have to do with me taking their gun and killing somebody? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Vaccine passports. It's coming out that you're going to need a vaccine passport to travel abroad, but you won't need one to travel in the United States. I guess I'll be sticking to domestic travel. Candace Owens and Cardi B are in a full-blown Twitter war, and of course we're all for Candace Owens, aren't we? You know what, Cardi B tweeted out something about Candace Owens' husband having a gay relationship with her brother. I mean, something completely defamatory and slanderous. And Candace Owens says she will definitely sue. Cardi B, of course, is the WAP singer who gets to go do her song on Grammys, but you and I can't talk about January 6th or COVID and vaccine. All across the Twitter sphere, all across the social media, the internet, Facebook, and every place else, we cannot talk about politics. We can't give our opinions, but by golly, Cardi B can get up there and do a strip show live on network TV and sing her WAP song. That's where we are as a country. Dr. Seuss is banned, but give me some WAP, Cardi. Screwed the hell up. California restaurant. This poor guy fighting back against Newsom. They turn off his electricity. I like this guy. He gets Oracle status today. Super Oracle status, because he's a Marine.
You've been awarded Oracle status.
They shut off his electricity. What's he do? He gets a generator. Way to be a Marine. Keep it up. Love that guy. Obama. You know, I sit back and I watch, and Teddy Roosevelt's one of my favorite presidents of all time. He went after the trusts in the early 1900s. He realized we could not have these companies that are too big. You know, we now have banks too big to fail. Well, we have tech. And I've been saying this for like 20 freaking years. I'm like, where in the hell is our Justice Departments going after Google, Facebook, these people who have clear monopoly? I mean, if it isn't a monopoly, what the hell is it? It's a freaking monopoly. And it's scary as hell. Well, there's a report out now that Obama, who had a chance to go after Google, decided when it was a good time to go after Google, the search engines. If you remember Bing, I remember having Bing. I said, screw Google, I'm going to try Bing. Well, does Bing even exist anymore? I don't know, because it's Google. But Obama let Google go. Just let it go. And of course, we have that famous little diner, wine drinking dinner that he had in some big tent out in California, remember, with all the techies around the table? Obama just loves that, man. He just loves hanging out with them. He's the superstar, you know, amongst the superstars. All right, Bernie versus Bezos. Now, after blasting them, I'm going to defend one. How crazy is it that Bernie Sanders is blasting Jeff Bezos for how much wealth he gained? It was like $58 billion during the pandemic. Now, I just want to say this. I believe that Amazon, just like Facebook, just like Google, needs some antitrust. They need to get knocked down to size. And by the way, these guys are still going to be rich. Do you know the story behind Standard Oil? Rockefeller, when they made him split up Standard Oil, took a stake, because they had to broke up, and all the other companies like Chevron, Ohio, so forth and so on. He made even more money. But at least there wasn't one gasoline company in this, oil company in this country. You see how it works? Break them up. Just break them up. Well, I'm going to defend Bezos on one thing. And all you ladies out there especially are going to laugh. Can you imagine the last freaking year, the pandemic, without Amazon? Can you imagine? You couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't shop. Thank God for Amazon. I think my wife gets something from Amazon every freaking day. I'm sure you ladies do too. What would we have done? So Bernie Sanders, who's a socialist, is best. Thank God we had Amazon during the pandemic, right? What would we have done without him? Face masks. You know, we're talking about how the pandemic and the lockdown has screwed up everything and everybody and the collateral. Well, there's a story in the Inquirer I saw day before yesterday where they say face masks are harming child development. In other words, if you're one of these moronic parents who wear your face mask around the house and your kid's looking at you, that kid's sitting there going, who the hell is this freaking person with this mask on? That they're saying now it's affecting childhood development. So take your mask off when you're around the kid, Erica. My own daughter, she's kind of, you know, into that. Sittenfeld and Pastor. This ought to piss you off. They're still getting paid. They're under federal indictment. They're kicked off council and they're still getting paid. Explain that to me. Explain that to me. It's like Ohio. Householder's under indictment. The Speaker of the House, Larry Householder, and the Republicans don't kick him off. They don't have the votes. Explain that to me. You don't think there's political gangsterism? School to prison pipeline. I'm going after my good buddy Fanon Rucker. Fanon Rucker, I gave him the largest contribution than anybody gave when he ran against Joe Deters. $10,000 check. By the way, you ready for this? I was going to give him $100,000. My wife vetoed it. She's got the power, folks. But I gave him more than anybody else. I supported Fanon Rucker against Joe Deters. I like Fanon Rucker. I told Fanon Rucker, I said, Fanon, you got the black vote. You need to go after some white vote here. I told him his social media page, man, can you put some white person on your page, you know, so you don't look, you know, you got the black vote, Fanon. And he and I agree on justice. Fanon Rucker and I agree with justice for the little guy, so forth and so on. But some of these race issues, we get sidetracked on. He's not for defunding the police. But I saw where yesterday, he posted on his Facebook page, school to prison pipeline. And it was supposed to be an expose of school being a pipeline, the school discipline to young blacks going to prison. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, really? Really? That's the problem? The breakdown of the family unit in the black community is the problem of school to prison. And maybe not enough discipline from the family and the school. Do you believe that? They're going to blame the school system for young black men ending up in prison? It's at Fanon, that's just plain wrong. All right, maybe he's the liberal that I need to get in that chair and have a debate on all these issues, if he's got the guts. He's too busy doing his Cincinnati interviews, interviewing a bunch of people on the other side, acting like he's pulling people together. See, what you got to do in this world, stake out your position and stick with it. Hell with the rest. All right, last but not least, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Somebody decided it would be a good thing to do to start a GoFundMe page to help them pay off their $17 million mansion. Do you know how much money? Now, this gives me hope for humanity because I kind of dog the public a lot. It only raised like $115. There was a $5, a $10, and a $100 donation. It had to be shut down. What a bad look, though. You believe a GoFundMe page for Meghan Markle and Harry? Get out of here. I've been watching The Sopranos. I'm up to already the last season 6, and I've got some Italian, rolling through my blood right now. I mean, come on. Bada bing. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury and Bulldog Nation, have a great St. Patrick's Day.